Today we're going to be talking about how I built my video studio in my garage for under 500 bucks and how you can do it too. Internet, welcome back. Robert Teegarden here again today, talking to you about filmmaking tips in the business of being creative. Today, I wanted to talk to you specifically about how I put together my garage studio setup for video for under 500 bucks. We're going to get into exactly how I did this thing and why specifically I had the need to put this thing together. And it really all comes down to efficiency. A while back, I was able to put together this YouTube studio setup inside my office where my A-roll, and it significantly increased my ability to export content. And so I tried to get to the same level of efficiency that I have here that was inspired by people like Caleb Pike and Think Media to say, the quicker you can hit record, the faster you're exporting. I took that same principle and put it inside my garage studio setup. So I want to take some time to tell you exactly how I did this and why that efficiency has allowed me to export even more content and higher quality content that I brought back to here in YouTube and more importantly to my paying clients. So let's get into exactly what I did to make that happen. Let's talk about the gear that I used. So like I mentioned, I put all of this stuff inside my garage, but really my garage isn't just dedicated to my video studio. So we're in my garage, and as you guys can tell, this is kind of a multi-purpose space. So the wife runs an e-commerce business over here. We've got a ton of workout equipment here, and we've got all my backdrops and camera equipment over behind me on this side. The purpose, like I mentioned before, is to get a space where I can easily drop down some quality lights and backdrops, shoot some B-roll and product shots without having to go through the hassle of setting up lights and light stands and umbrellas and all the different stuff for over an hour. So the main thing that I knew is I was going to hang lights from the rafters, and I had to have a way of constantly being able to tuck them inside of my joist beds so I could keep them out of the way for the various activities that are going on in there. The first step I did was take down the lighting. Now, if you guys probably have seen my review on these GVM LED lights, I found a pair on sale for 150 bucks while I was scrolling through Instagram. Definitely helped out. And they're not the most expensive lights, but they're definitely perfect for what I need. Those lights were mounted on top of these articulating arm stands that I got from B&H. So Impact 3 had these double articulating arms without a bracket. Now, without the bracket, I'll explain in just a second. But these things were crucial because I wanted to be able to move these lights around dependent on the type of shoot that I had. If I had an interview, I wanted to put it a little bit higher, but if I had a product shoot that I needed to do, I needed to be able to drop that light down on the top of them. And I needed to be able to have the different types of modifiers and the lights on them as well. So I had to be able to have kind of a beefy setup for those articulating arms. These things worked out just perfectly. The next thing was actually mounting the light and the arm to the joist bed itself inside of the garage. So for that, I still used the brand Impact, and I got their super clamp with this ratchet handle. And those two things are actually pretty important for me because I can use that ratchet handle to tighten down and put these things exactly where I need them on the joist bed. But it also allows me to move that ratchet out of the way so I can continue to move the lights around in that articulating arm in whatever space I need to. The best part about these things is that I'm able to drop the lights down where I want them when I need to use them, but I also get to tuck them up out of the way inside the joist beds so that they're not hanging down and causing problems whenever I'm not using them. The next thing I had to figure out were the modifiers. So I ended up going with two different Bones Mount modifiers for this, but both come from Aperture. The first one is the Aperture Space Light, and the next one is the Aperture Lantern Softbox. Now, this is a very particular reason why I wanted that. Mainly, it all surrounded the setup that it would take to get nice diffused light inside this video studio. But the best thing about this is that it's always set up. I just need to push down on the modifier to open the softbox up or open the diffusion up, and then it just mounts onto the Bones mount on the light itself. Now, the cool thing about this is that it comes with kind of that curtain so you can focus the light down on top as much as you want to. It doesn't have any grids or any of that sort of dual layer diffusion that some of the other parabolics have. But for this particular purpose, it was more about speed, efficiency, and quality, kind of that sweet spot in between. And this light really just kind of kicked it over the edge for me. It was the perfect balance. It's really simple to set up. It's great diffused light. And if I want to focus it, I can. But oftentimes what I found is just a simple overhead like that does the trick for the style that I'm looking for. So once I hung the articulating arms in the joist bed and I had the ability with the super clamps to put them wherever I want to, the last thing I needed to do is, of course, cable management. So I routed all the cables for the GVM LS P80s on the articulating arms with zip ties and giving myself enough slack so that I can move those articulating arms around where I needed to. The next thing was to kind of put together the power supply that was there and make sure that that was mounted up out of the way. I used a trick that I've used before that I actually saw from my dad, kind of this old school. I took chicken wire and mounted it around the power bricks that powers the lights themselves, and then used these particular screws, these flathead sheet metal screws, to be able to keep that chicken wire in place. Now, the reason I did this is because it keeps them fairly secure, but if for some crazy reason I need to take these GVMs off of the articulating arms and out of my garage for a shoot, I can slide that power brick out of the chicken wire and use it easily without having to do crazy modifications to where my setup is. So it's kind of an easy hack to keep them mounted up and out of the way and dialed and secure. But if I actually end up needing those things, it's a pretty simple process for me to slide them out of that wire and put them into place. Now, I've used this setup several different times, both for product shots and for interviews, and I absolutely love it. It's super quick, it's reliable, it's repeatable. I don't spend a ton of time setting up lights and pulling down backdrops and moving in C-stands, both on the front end and the back end of my projects. I know I mentioned like a 90-minute setup time in the beginning of this video, but you got to multiply that twice. The discouragement that I would feel is 3 hours of setup and teardown when I had to do any type of product or B-roll videography. And I really just like as a deterrent for you getting in there and doing things and playing around. So I'm always looking for hacks, and me investing in this setup really is not something that I absolutely needed to do, but it X's my productivity up significantly so that I'm able to do more stuff, but more quality work than I was before. So with that in mind, that's my garage B-roll setup for under 500 bucks. If you like this video, I put out content on filmmaking tips and the business of being a creative every week. So if you love this type of thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for post notifications. We're here trying to grow this Teegarden community as much as possible and offer value to you guys. Give me a comment down below on the things that you love the most. And with that in mind, ladies and germs, this is Teegarden with another tutorial in the can. I'll see you guys next week. Deuces.